The massive council chamber hummed with the voices of 26 different species. Blue-skinned Ardanians whispered to tentacled Vexor diplomats. Six-legged Trill delegates clicked and chirped to each other. In the center of it all stood John Miller, the human ambassador to the Galactic Council. John adjusted his formal blue suit and practiced his smile. 3 years had passed since Earth joined the Council. 3 years of careful words, measured responses, and hiding humanity's true nature. The aliens thought humans were simple, peaceful creatures. John planned to keep it that way. "The human delegation seems unusually quiet today," said Zexalura, the insectoid representative of the krill hive. Her multiple eyes blinked in rapid sequence. "Are you well, Ambassador Miller?" "Perfectly fine, thank you," John replied with a practiced smile. "Just reflecting on our progress these past 3 years." Lisa Watts, captain of the UES Defender and military liaison to the Council, stood beside him. Her dark uniform contrasted with the colorful alien delegates around them. Like John, she maintained a pleasant expression despite the boredom of these meetings. "Another 6 hours of talking without saying anything," she whispered to John. "I'm getting too good at looking interested while thinking about fishing back home." John suppressed a laugh. Diplomatic skill number 1. Looking fascinated by trade regulations. The council chamber itself was a marvel of alien engineering. The circular room stretched 100 meters across with a transparent dome ceiling revealing the stars beyond. Earth's delegation had the smallest section, a modest area with 5 seats, compared to the 20 or 30 allocated to founding council races. The Galactic Council had welcomed humans with a mixture of curiosity and condescension. Humans were the newest members, still finding their place among species that had traveled the stars for thousands of years. "The humans are remarkably adaptable," observed High Elder Gorvin of the Pleiades Confederation to his aide. "Though they lack the telepathic abilities of the Mindari or the technological advancement of the Xilari, they compensate with enthusiasm." What Gorvin and the others didn't understand was that humans were playing a careful game. Earth's military leaders had been clear with their diplomats. Keep humanity's full capabilities quiet. Let the galaxy think humans were just clever apes who got lucky with faster-than-light technology. As the council session began, John took his seat. The day's agenda covered routine matters, trade route allocations, quarantine protocols for a newly discovered plant disease, and updates to shared technology standards. Nothing that would reveal what humans were truly capable of. During a break, Lisa checked her military communications device. "All quiet on all fronts," she reported. "Our colony on Proxima Centauri sent their agricultural report. Crops are exceeding expectations." "Good news," John replied. "The less excitement, the better." A tall, gray-skinned Xilari diplomat approached them. Ambassador Northall had been among the first aliens to visit Earth and remained one of the few council members who treated humans as equals. "Ambassador Miller, Captain Watts." Northall greeted them with the traditional human handshake they had taught him. "I hope you're finding today's proceedings educational." "Always," John lied smoothly. "I've been studying your Earth history," Northall said. "Fascinating material. Your species achieved space travel remarkably quickly after discovering electricity." Lisa's smile tightened slightly. Aliens studying Earth history was exactly what their superiors had warned against. "We're an impatient bunch," John said lightly. "Always in a hurry." "Indeed, though you show remarkable restraint in council matters. Some species expected humans to be more assertive, given certain historical patterns." John maintained his diplomatic smile. "We're just happy to have a seat at the table, Ambassador Northall." As the alien moved away, Lisa leaned closer to John. "He knows more than he's letting on." "Several of them do," John agreed quietly. "But as long as humans are seen as the polite newcomers, we maintain our advantage." Little did the Council know that humanity's polite mode was a careful mask, one that could drop in an instant if needed. For now, John Miller and Lisa Watts would continue the charade. representing humanity as the Council's newest, most agreeable member species, until they couldn't anymore. The Council meeting had dragged on for 4 hours. John Miller stifled a yawn as his Alexian representative droned on about mineral rights in the Orient sector. Beside him, Captain Lisa Watts discreetly checked her communication device under the table, a habit she had developed during these long sessions. The Grand Chamber's soft blue lighting was designed to be comfortable for all species, though it made some humans sleepy. Lisa pinched her wrists to stay alert. As military liaison, she needed to pay attention even to the most boring parts. Ambassador Miller, does Earth wish to comment on the proposed mining regulations? Asked High Elder Gorvin, the ancient Pleiadian who chaired today's session. John straightened in his chair. Earth has no objections. We support the Council's wisdom in this matter. This was the usual human response. Agree, support, defer to the Council's greater experience. The strategy had served Earth well so far. Several Council races nodded approvingly at John's diplomatic reply. Lisa's device suddenly vibrated with an urgent pattern. Her eyes widened slightly as she read the incoming message. She leaned over to John and whispered, "We need to talk. Now." John noticed the change in her posture immediately. Without breaking his pleasant expression, he addressed the Council. "Esteemed members, might I request a brief recess? The Earth delegation requires a moment for consultation." "The Council will recess for 15 minutes, Gorvin announced, seemingly grateful for the break himself. As soon as they entered the private human delegation room, Lisa's composed expression vanished. She pressed a button on her device, activating privacy shields that blocked all known forms of surveillance. "The Kravik have attacked our colony on Proxima Centauri," she said, her voice tight. "It's bad, John. Really bad." John's diplomatic mask slipped. "How bad?" "Initial reports show over 2,000 civilian casualties. They hit the main settlement with no warning. The colony's defensive systems were barely activated before the first strikes." "The Kravik? They're not even Council members. What could they possibly want with our colony?" John ran a hand through his hair, his carefully maintained composure cracking. "Resources, territory, or just testing our response. Intelligence suggests they've been watching how we behave in the Council." Lisa's hands curled into fists. "They think we're weak." John's jaw tightened. "What's our military response status?" The UES Sentinel was nearby and has already moved to defensive position. 4 more ships are en route, but they're hours away. Lisa checked her device again. "We're getting live feeds from the colony now. It's a massacre, John." The ambassador's eyes hardened. For the first time since joining the Council, John Miller allowed his true feelings to show on his face. They targeted civilians. Children. Yes. "We need to inform the Council immediately. Request emergency intervention." Lisa nodded, but her expression was doubtful. "The Council moves slowly, John. You know that. They'll debate, form committees, send observers, while our people die." John's voice was flat. "What do our orders say?" "Command says to follow diplomatic channels first." "But," Lisa hesitated, "they've given us authorization for Protocol 7 if necessary." Protocol 7 was something no Council race knew existed. It authorized full military response without restriction. It meant the end of humanity's polite facade. John straightened his tie, a gesture that now seemed absurdly normal given what they had just learned. "We'll try it their way first. One chance, through channels." "And if they delay?" Lisa asked, already knowing the answer. "Then the Council gets to see what humans are really capable of." They returned to the chamber as the recess ended. The other delegates noticed something different right away. John Miller still stood straight, still spoke clearly, but something had changed in his eyes. "Esteemed Council members," he began, his voice carrying across the chamber without the usual deference. "I must inform you of an urgent situation requiring immediate attention. The Kravik Empire has launched an unprovoked attack against the human settlement on Proxima Centauri. The council chamber erupted in murmurs and clicks of alarm. For the first time, the alien representatives saw the first hint of humanity's polite mode beginning to switch off. The council chamber fell silent as images from Proxima Centauri appeared on the large display screen. Burning buildings, injured civilians, and the unmistakable wreckage of Kravik attack ships filled the view. John Miller stood perfectly still as the footage played, his face now a mask of controlled anger rather than practiced diplomacy. "As you can see," he said, his voice steady but with a new edge that made several alien representatives shift uncomfortably, this was not a misunderstanding or border dispute. This was a deliberate attack on a civilian settlement. High Elder Gorvin raised his long, thin fingers. "This is most disturbing, Ambassador Miller. The Council has had few dealings with the Kravik Empire, but such aggression is unexpected." Grenfell, the Zalaxian representative, made a dismissive gesture with his upper limbs. "While unfortunate, the attack appears limited in scope. 2,000 casualties, while regrettable, hardly constitutes a major incident by galactic standards." A small muscle twitched in John's jaw. Lysa Watts, standing beside him, took a half-step forward. "Representative Grenfell," she said, her voice carrying a chill that wasn't there before. "Perhaps Zalaxian standards differ from human ones. For us, even one civilian death in an unprovoked attack constitutes a major incident." Murmurs spread through the chamber. Captain Watts had never interrupted council proceedings before. The human military liaison had always been a quiet, polite presence. "The council recognizes Captain Watts," Gorvin said, surprised. Lisa nodded curtly. "Thank you, Elder Gorvin. The human delegation formally requests emergency intervention under Article 14 of the Council Charter. We ask for immediate council condemnation of the Kravik attack and authorization for a joint defense force to secure the Proxima Centauri system." Grenfell's face ridges darkened, a sign of irritation. "The Council cannot rush to action based on one incident. We must investigate, establish facts, follow protocols. While you investigate, more of our people could die," John said, no longer bothering to hide the steel in his voice. "The Kravik clearly believe that humans are weak, that our diplomatic approach to council matters reflects our true nature." "Does it not?" asked Vex Mori, the Trill delegate, his 6 legs shifting nervously. "Humans have always presented themselves as peaceful traders and diplomats." Lisa stepped forward again, her hand now resting openly on her sidearm, something she had never done in the council chamber before. "For your own safety," she said clearly, looking around the room, "I strongly advise the council to act now. You have never seen humanity when we stop being polite." A few delegates actually laughed. The sound died quickly when they noticed the expressions on the faces of the few species who had studied Earth's military history more thoroughly. Ambassador Northall of the Xilari stood. "I believe we should listen carefully to what Captain Watts is saying. My people have researched Earth history. Humans have a concept they call proportional response that differs significantly from council norms." "What are you suggesting, Ambassador Northall?" Gorvin asked. "That perhaps the council should not delay in this matter," Northall replied carefully. "For everyone's benefit." John's communication device chimed with a priority alert. He glanced at it, then whispered something to Lisa. Her posture stiffened even more. "While the council deliberates," John announced, "I have just been informed that 4 more human ships have arrived at Proxima Centauri. They are currently in defensive positions only, but I must inform you that Earth's patience has limits." "Is that a threat, Ambassador Miller?" Grenfell demanded. "No," John replied, meeting the alien's gaze directly. "It's a warning from a friend, one I sincerely hope you'll heed." The chamber erupted in concerned discussion. Dr. Adam Grant, a human xenohistorian who had been sitting quietly in the background, was suddenly surrounded by curious alien delegates asking urgent questions. "What does the human captain mean by when we stop being polite?" asked a nervous Ardanian diplomat. Adam looked around at the worried faces. "Earth has a saying. Speak softly and carry a big stick. Until now, you've only heard us speaking softly." As the council descended into heated debate, Dr. Adam Grant found himself surrounded by a group of alien delegates in the side chamber. His role as Earth's historian usually involved quiet research, not emergency briefings, but today was different. "You must explain what Captain Watts meant," insisted Krell, a reptilian delegate from the Vega system. "Your species has always seemed so accommodating." Adam activated his portable holographic projector. "Perhaps it's best if I show you." The device lit up, displaying scenes from Earth's history, battles from ancient Rome, medieval sieges, World War trenches, modern combat zones. The aliens watched in stunned silence. "For most of our history," Adam explained, "humans fought each other. Our technology advanced primarily because of warfare. Our greatest innovations often came from trying to defeat other humans." "But your council representatives have never mentioned this," said a blue-skinned Ardanian. "You never asked," Adam replied simply. "And we saw no reason to frighten you." Back in the main chamber, the council's emergency session had turned chaotic. Elder Gorvin struggled to maintain order as factions formed. Some representatives called for immediate action, while others urged caution. "The Kravik must be given a chance to explain themselves," shouted Grenfell. Perhaps they perceived a threat from the human colony. John Miller stood perfectly still at the center of the storm, his eyes following each speaker. Lisa Watts checked her device periodically, her face growing darker with each update. Ambassador Miller called out Vex Mori. "If the Council agrees to send a diplomatic mission to the Kravik, would Earth delay any military response?" Before John could answer, his device signaled again. The message made him close his eyes briefly. When he opened them, something had changed. Several telepathic species in the room suddenly went silent, sensing the shift in John's emotional state. "I have just been informed," John said, his voice now completely stripped of its usual warmth, "that the Kravik have launched a second attack on our colony. The death toll now exceeds 5,000 civilians." Lisa stepped forward, all pretense of deference gone. "Earth cannot and will not wait for diplomatic missions that could take weeks. Every minute we delay costs human lives." In the side chamber, Adam continued his impromptu history lesson. "This is London after bombing in the 1940s, he said, showing damaged buildings and determined faces. "This is New York after terrorist attacks in 2001. The images showed rubble and rescue workers. "This is Shanghai after the climate wars." "Your species survived all this fighting against itself?" asked Krell, astonished. "Not just survived. We emerged stronger each time," Adam said quietly. "Now imagine what happens when humans unite against an outside threat." Meanwhile, Elder Gorvin called for an official vote. "The Council will decide whether to authorize immediate intervention or pursue diplomatic channels with the Kravik." The vote took less than 5 minutes. Diplomatic channels won by a significant margin. John received the result with an eerily calm expression. "The Council has made its decision. Earth respects this outcome." Several delegates looked relieved. However, John continued, "I must formally inform you that Earth will now invoke Article 17 of the Council Charter, the right of self-defense without limitation when facing existential threats." Gorvin leaned forward. "Ambassador Miller, that article has never been invoked in Council history." "There's a first time for everything," John replied. He turned to Lisa and nodded once. Lisa activated her official military channel. "This is Captain Watts to all Earth forces in the Proxima sector. The Council has declined to intervene. Protocol Omega is now in effect." Repeat, Protocol Omega is now in effect. A young Sulari aide leaned toward Ambassador Northall. "What does Protocol Omega mean?" Northall's normally gray skin had paled to almost white. "It means, young one, that we are about to learn why humans have spent 3 years pretending to be less dangerous than they are." As John and Lisa prepared to leave the chamber, Lieutenant Samantha Collins, a junior human officer, whispered to her colleague, They really have no idea what's coming, do they? Several telepathic council members suddenly rose to their feet, demanding emergency sessions after sensing the collective shift in human emotional states. The human delegation left the council chamber in perfect formation. No rushing, no visible anger, just the steady, purposeful movement of people with a clear mission. This controlled behavior somehow frightened the council members more than any display of rage would have. Lisa Watts spoke quietly into her communication device as they walked. The human military base on the station was already buzzing with activity. Officers who normally smiled and chatted with alien visitors now moved with grim efficiency, their faces blank. "I don't understand," Grenfell said to Elder Gorvin after the humans departed. "We offered a diplomatic solution. It is the civilized approach." The ancient Pleiadian looked troubled. "I fear we may have misunderstood our human colleagues from the beginning." In the Human Command Center aboard Space Station Harmony, John Miller stood before a large tactical display. The polite ambassador was gone. In his place stood a man who had spent 20 years in Earth's diplomatic corps, but had started his career in Special Forces. "The UES Defender will depart in 30 minutes, Lisa announced. 6 other ships are repositioning to join the response fleet. "What about our council observers?" John asked, referring to the alien representatives who normally monitored human military vessels. "Being politely but firmly escorted off our ships," Lisa replied. "We're citing safety protocols." Across the room, Lieutenant Samantha Collins coordinated with Earth's Central Command. "Protocol Omega is confirmed, sir. Full combat authorizations received from Earth government. All restrictions lifted." The ship's eyes, normally programmed with extensive ethical constraints, began reconfiguring to full combat protocols. Weapon systems that had remained dormant during peacetime came online. Shield configurations shifted from defensive to offensive patterns. Back in the council chamber, an emergency session had been hastily convened. Several telepathic species had demanded it after sensing the dramatic shift in human emotional states. "Something is very wrong," said Colveran, the Mindari representative whose species could sense emotions across great distances. "The human consciousness pattern has changed completely. Where there was restraint, now there is purpose." "What does that mean?" asked a nervous Ardanian delegate. Ambassador Northel stood. "It means the humans we thought we knew were showing us only what they wanted us to see." Dr. Adam Grant remained in the chamber, now serving as the sole human representative. The council members bombarded him with questions. "How many ships does Earth actually have?" demanded Grenfell. "More than we've registered with the council," Adam admitted calmly. "And their true military capability. You'll see soon enough." Elder Gorvin raised his hands for silence. "Dr. Grant, can you explain what Protocol Omega entails?" Adam considered the question carefully. "Earth has always operated under self-imposed restrictions when dealing with other species. Protocol Omega removes those restrictions." "And what does that mean in practical terms?" pressed Gorvin. "It means," Adam said quietly, "that the Kravik are about to learn why every human ship carries enough firepower to destroy a small moon, despite claiming they're primarily scientific vessels." On the main display screen, the Council watched as 7 human warships detached from various docking stations around Council space. Their engines glowed with unexpected power as they accelerated far faster than the Council had believed possible. "Those ships were not built for peace," whispered Krell to his aide. Lieutenant Collins entered the chamber and handed Adam a secure tablet. He read it, then addressed the Council. "I have been instructed to inform you that Earth has activated its reserved military forces. In approximately 12 hours, 23 additional warships will enter Kravik space." 23. Grenfell nearly shouted. "Your record stated Earth possessed only 15 interstellar vessels total." "As I said," Adam replied calmly, "there were things we didn't share." On the tactical display in the Human Command Center, John Miller and Lisa Watts watched as their ships formed up. The UES Defender, now revealed to be a heavily armed battle cruiser rather than the diplomatic vessel it had pretended to be, took the lead position. Lisa looked at John. You know the Kravik expected a diplomatic response. They're not prepared for what's coming. That, John said as he straightened his now unnecessary diplomatic insignia, was their mistake. The UES Defender dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the Proxima Centauri system. 6 other human warships emerged beside it, their weapon systems fully powered. Captain Lisa Watts stood on the bridge, her formal diplomatic uniform replaced by standard combat gear. "Report," she ordered. 3 Kravik warships detected in orbit around Proxima Centauri, replied Navigation Officer Paul Harris. They appear to be continuing bombardment of the main colony. Lisa's face hardened. And our colony? Emergency shelters holding. Approximately 60% of surface structures destroyed. Colonial defense forces are engaging but outmatched. Lisa activated the ship-wide communication system. All crew, this is Captain Watts. As you know, the Council declined to intervene in this unprovoked attack on our people. Protocol Omega is now in effect. Throughout the ship, crew members exchanged knowing glances. For 3 years, they had trained in secret, maintained weapons systems disguised as scientific equipment, and pretended to be less capable than they were. You all know what Protocol Omega means, Lisa continued. No more restrictions, no more pretending. Today, we show the Kravik and the watching galaxy what happens when humanity stops being polite. On the tactical station, Lieutenant Ryan Baker uncovered a hidden panel, revealing advanced targeting systems that had never been disclosed to Council inspectors. All ships report ready, Captain, he said. Combat AI systems online at full capacity. The Kravik, meanwhile, continued their assault on the colony, confident that humans would respond with diplomatic protests rather than military action. Their intelligence, based on 3 years of observing human behavior in the Council, indicated a species reluctant to engage in direct confrontation. Fleet Commander, call the Kravik Sensor Operator. Unknown vessels approaching. The Kravik Commander, Grathtar, looked unconcerned. The humans have a few ships. Their weapons are basic. Continue the assault. On the UES Defender, Lisa gave a single command. Begin Operation Swift Justice. What happened next stunned the Council observers watching through long-range sensors. The human fleet didn't just target the Kravik ships in orbit. Working with surgical precision, smaller vessels deployed from the Defender's previously hidden launch bays, targeting the Kravik's weapon systems with perfect accuracy. Within minutes, all 3 Kravik ships were disabled but not destroyed. I want them alive, Lisa had ordered. I want them to report back what happened here. Back at the Council chamber, the alien representatives watched in silence as the human military revealed capabilities that had never been hinted at in any report or inspection. Their targeting systems are at least 2 generations beyond what they claim to possess, said a Xilari military analyst. And those ships move like nothing I've ever seen. The Kravik, realizing they were outmatched, attempted to flee the system. The UES Defender allowed 1 ship to escape, but not before Lisa transmitted a message directly to the Kravik homeworld. This is Captain Lisa Watts of Earth. You have committed an act of war against humanity. What you have witnessed today is only a fraction of our capability. You have 24 hours to surrender all forces and offer reparations, or we will be forced to demonstrate our full military response. The message was broadcast on all frequencies, ensuring that the Council and every species in the galaxy would hear it. In the Council chamber, Dr. Adam Grant stood calmly as the alien representatives processed what they were seeing. This was just 7 ships, he reminded them quietly. 23 more are on the way. All this time, Grenfell said, his voice shaking, you were hiding your true nature. Not hiding, Adam corrected. We just didn't feel the need to frighten you. Humans prefer peace, but when peace isn't an option. On the main display, They watched as the human ships began systematic neutralization of every Kravik military installation in the system. Not with chaotic destruction, but with precise, calculated strikes that minimized collateral damage while maximizing effectiveness. "They're not just powerful," whispered Elder Gorvin. "They're efficient." Ambassador Northall nodded grimly. "Now you understand why I studied their history so carefully. This is humanity when they stop being polite." 36 hours after the first human ships engaged the Kravik forces, complete silence fell over the council chamber. The main display showed scenes that none of the alien representatives had expected to see. The Kravik Empire, known for its military might across 3 star systems, had surrendered unconditionally to Earth. Not a single human ship had been lost. "This cannot be possible," Grenthal whispered, his upper limbs trembling. "The Kravik have been expanding their territory for decades. How could they be defeated so quickly?" The answer came as the tactical displays showed the full extent of humanity's response. The 23 additional warships had arrived as promised, but they hadn't simply targeted military installations. They had systematically disabled the Kravik's entire infrastructure: power grids, communication networks, orbital defenses, all with surgical precision. "They didn't just fight the Kravik military," Krell observed. "They dismantled their entire ability to make war." The council chamber doors opened. Ambassador John Miller walked in, once again wearing his formal diplomatic uniform. Captain Lisa Watts followed, her posture perfect, her expression neutral. To look at them now, one might never guess they had just overseen a military operation that had brought a galactic power to its knees. "Esteemed council members," John began, his voice carrying the same polite tone they had heard for 3 years. "I am pleased to inform you that the situation with the Kravik Empire has been resolved." The silence in the chamber was deafening. "The Kravik leadership has signed a formal surrender and agreed to pay reparations for the damage to our colony. They have also agreed to council oversight of their military for the next 50 years. Elder Gorvin found his voice first. "Ambassador Miller, the council did not authorize such terms." John smiled pleasantly. "With all due respect, Elder, we invoked Article 17. Earth acted within its rights." "But the scale of your response," Grenthal began. Lisa stepped forward, "was proportional by human standards. We disabled rather than destroyed wherever possible. No civilian targets were struck. No planets were bombarded. By Earth's historical standards, this was a measured response." The implications of her words sent a chill through the chamber. If this was measured by human standards, what would an all-out human war look like? Dr. Adam Grant, still serving as the human historical expert, found himself surrounded by alien representatives again. This time, their questions had changed. "Is it true that humans once detonated atomic weapons on their own planet?" asked a nervous Ardanian. "Yes," Adam replied simply. "More than once. And you survived as a species." "We did more than survive. We learned from it." On the other side of the chamber, several militaristic council species approached John Miller with new respect in their eyes. The Draxian commander, whose species valued strength above all, spoke first. "Earth would make a powerful ally. We would like to discuss mutual defense agreements." 4 other species quickly indicated similar interests. The political landscape of the council was shifting before their eyes. In the center of the chamber, Elder Gorvin activated the formal council protocols. "The council recognizes the resolution of the conflict between Earth and the Kravik Empire. We will convene tomorrow to discuss the terms of surrender and oversight." As the session ended, John and Lisa prepared to leave. Ambassador Northall approached them. "You could have told us," he said quietly. "We have been allies from the beginning." John's diplomatic smile softened into something more genuine. "We valued that alliance too much to risk it. Some species would have seen us as a threat rather than a partner if they knew our full capabilities." "And now," Lisa answered, her own professional mask slipping slightly. "Now they've seen what happens when humans are provoked." Hopefully, that knowledge will help maintain peace rather than threaten it. As they walked away, Northall noticed something interesting. The human representatives, who had revealed their species' true power, were already falling back into their polite patterns, smiling at passing aliens, nodding respectfully to council elders, maintaining comfortable distances from telepathic species. The polite mode was switching back on. But now everyone knew what lay beneath it. That knowledge would forever change how the galaxy viewed humanity. 6 months had passed since the day the Galactic Council witnessed humanity's polite mode switch off. The diplomatic landscape had transformed entirely. Earth, once viewed as a minor newcomer, now held significant influence in council decisions. The council chamber had been rebuilt and expanded, with Earth's section now equal in size to the founding members. Historians would later mark this as the beginning of humanity's rise to becoming a leading power in galactic politics. At a formal reception celebrating the reconstruction, alien representatives watched Officer Daniel Garcia, a junior human diplomat, with newfound caution. An Ardanian delegate had accidentally knocked over Daniel's drink, spilling it on his uniform. The room grew tense. "I am deeply sorry," the Ardanian said, body language showing clear fear. Daniel simply smiled. "No problem at all. Accidents happen." He calmly dabbed at his uniform with a napkin. Several nearby aliens visibly relaxed, but continued watching carefully. The incident would have gone unnoticed 6 months ago, but now every interaction with humans was studied with intense interest. Across the room, Dr. Kate Ryan found herself surrounded by xenopsychologists who had traveled from across the galaxy to understand humanity better. "The concept fascinates us," said a Mindari researcher. "You call it being polite until it's time not to be polite anymore. How do humans know when that moment arrives?" Kate considered her answer carefully. "It varies by individual, but generally we remain polite until someone threatens what we value most: our loved ones, our homes, our freedom. And when that happens, we respond with whatever level of force is necessary to remove the threat, and then return to being polite again, as if nothing happened," observed the Mindari. "Exactly," Kate said with a smile. "It's more efficient that way." In another part of the station, Ambassador John Miller met with the new council leadership. Elder Gorvin had retired, replaced by a committee that now included a human representative. "The Kravik rehabilitation program is proceeding well," reported Ambassador Northall. "They seem genuinely eager to rejoin galactic society as peaceful members." "Amazing what a change of perspective can accomplish," John replied mildly. Everyone in the room understood what remained unsaid. The Kravik had experienced firsthand what happened when they provoked humanity. That lesson would not be forgotten. On the observation deck, Captain Lisa Watts stood beside Lieutenant Samantha Collins, looking out at the stars. The UES Defender was docked nearby, no longer hiding its true capabilities. Its weapon systems were visible for all to see, a reminder rather than a threat. "Do you think they understand us better now?" Samantha asked. Lisa watched a group of alien diplomats giving the human section a wide berth. "They understand part of us. They've seen what we can do when threatened. What they haven't fully grasped is that we genuinely prefer peace. Will they ever trust us again?" "Trust isn't what we need," Lisa replied. "Respect works better." Back in the main reception, a new phrase had entered the galactic vernacular. A Draxian commander warned his junior officer, "Mind your manners with the human delegation. Don't mistake their human politeness for weakness." The phrase "human politeness" now carried weight throughout council space, entering diplomatic training for all species. Historical records of Earth were required study for alien representatives before they could serve on the council. Dr. Adam Grant had compiled the official teaching materials. The final lesson in his course simply stated, "The most dangerous predators rarely bare their teeth until it's time to strike." Humanity's civility isn't weakness. It's a courtesy that can be withdrawn at any moment. As the reception ended, John Miller smiled and shook hands with various alien representatives. His diplomatic demeanor was perfect, his courtesy impeccable. To an outside observer, nothing seemed different from the way humans had behaved before the Kravik incident. But everything had changed. The polite masks humans wore were now recognized for what they were, not deception, but choice. A choice to be civil, to be kind, to be diplomatic. A choice that could be unmade in an instant if necessary. The Council had learned an important lesson. Humanity's polite mode was not who they were. It was simply how they preferred to be, until given reason to be otherwise.